Hello. This presentation will be a deep dive into the policy differences between Apollo and Artemis, a comparative analysis of NASA's evolving space goals, presented by me, Allison Garland. Let's compare the mission objectives of the Apollo and Artemis programs, which reflect the different priorities of their times. The Apollo program emerged in the context of the Cold War, a fierce space race between the United States and the Soviet Union. The key objective, as declared by President John F. Kennedy in his 1961 speech, was to land a human on the moon and return safely back by the end of the decade. This wasn't just about exploration, it was a powerful statement by the U.S. about technological and ideological superiority over its political opponents. The program focused on achieving a singular short-term goal to prove the capabilities of the U.S. space program. In contrast, the Artemis program is shaped by a modern vision of global collaboration and long-term exploration. Its key objectives include establishing a sustainable human presence on the moon, preparing for missions to Mars and beyond, and finally allowing for international cooperation through the Artemis Accords. The program emphasizes using the moon as a testing ground for future deep space exploration, addressing challenges like resource utilization and habitable sustainability. In summary, while Apollo was about winning a race, Artemis is about building a future. The Apollo program was rooted in the 1958 National Aeronautics and Space Act, which established NASA to advance U.S. leadership in space. This policy framed space exploration as a means to assert national security, especially during the Cold War. In 1961, President Kennedy's famous speech declared the moon landing a national priority, setting a clear and time-bound goal to land a man on the moon and return him safely to Earth by the end of the decade. The program's focus was singular and competitive, winning the space race against the Soviet Union. The Artemis program, on the other hand, is guided by modern policies and emphasis collaboration and sustainability. The Artemis Accords provide a framework for international cooperation, promoting peaceful exploration and resource sharing amongst nations. Additionally, directives from National Space Council reaffirm NASA's goal of returning humans to the moon, but with a long-term vision. Artemis focuses on building reusable infrastructure, fostering private sector partnerships, and preparing for future Mars missions. In essence, while Apollo was driven by national rivalry and urgency, Artemis represents a shift toward global cooperation and sustainability in space exploration. Now, let's take a look at how Apollo and Artemis programs differ in their use of technology and collaboration. The Apollo program relied on groundbreaking but limited 1960s era technology. The centerpiece was the Saturn V rocket, which was the most powerful rocket ever built at the time. However, Apollo missions used single-use spacecraft and equipment designed for one-off missions. NASA maintained full control over the design and implementation of the program, with minimal involvement with other nations or private companies. Artemis, in contrast, leverages modern advancements to make lunar exploration more sustainable and inclusive. The Space Launch System, or SLS, builds on Apollo's legacy but incorporates 21st century technology, including greater efficiency and power. Artemis also emphasized reusability with plans to reuse lunar landers and the construction of the Gateway, a lunar orbiting space station. In terms of collaboration, Artemis represents a major shift. It actively involves private companies such as SpaceX and more than 25 international partners through the Artemis Accords, fostering innovation and shared goals. In short, Apollo's centralized and government-led approach reflects the urgency of its time, while Artemis embraces global collaboration and advanced technologies to pave the way for the future. As we wrap up, let's take a closer look at the lasting impact of both Apollo and Artemis and how their legacies shape the future of space exploration. The Apollo program, with its singular goal of landing humans on the moon, had profound scientific and cultural effects. The missions not only achieved the historical first human landing on the moon in 1969, but they also collected over 380 kilograms of lunar rocks, which led to groundbreaking discoveries about the moon's composition. Apollo's success bolstered U.S. prestige during the Cold War and inspired generations of scientists and engineers. It also proved that humans could venture beyond Earth's orbit, laying the groundwork for future missions. On the other hand, Artemis builds on Apollo's legacy, but with a broader, more future-focused vision. One of its key scientific goals is to explore the moon's south pole, a region that was never explored by Apollo. This area is believed to contain valuable resources including water, ice, which could be used to support future lunar missions. Artemis also aims to develop sustainable exploration techniques to support long-term missions by creating infrastructure like the Gateway Station in lunar orbit and reusable lunar landers. Artemis is setting the stage for deep exploration, including the eventual goal of reaching Mars. In addition to scientific and technological advances, Artemis is encouraging international collaboration through the Artemis Accords, which guides peaceful exploration and shared resources amongst nations. It as well promotes inclusivity and representation with its future astronauts. This reflects a shift from Apollo's US-centric approach to a more cooperative, global vision for humanity's future in space. In summary, Apollo demonstrated what humanity could achieve in a race to the moon, whereas Artemis is paving the way for sustainability, collaborative space exploration in the years to come.